Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to Superhero Sitdown, episode 20. Today, I sit down with a man that defines the word superhuman. You know, we are currently living through some of the most unprecedented times in human history, and with things changing so fast, I say it's about time we change. I say it's about time we change those limiting beliefs, those old patterns, and create new ones so like that we can propel ourselves towards a life that we truly desire. And I don't think there's a greater human being on the face of this planet than the man that I'm bringing on today, guys. Please give a warm welcome to a motivational speaker, New York Times best-selling author, millionaire entrepreneur, Lewis Howes.
What's up, brother? Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on. Great intro.
Welcome, Lewis. Welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you on. You know, big fan. And your work is just so inspirational to so many. You've changed so many people's lives. And
Thanks,
it's truly
brother.
an honor to be able to bring you on here, to be able to inspire my audience and touch every single life that gets their hands on this content. So thank you so much.
That's right, man. I appreciate it. I'm here to serve.
So with us being the biggest superhero community on TikTok, we are obsessed with superheroes.
Yep.
We aren't just obsessed with loving the characters. We are obsessed with becoming our own superheroes. So with that being said, my first question to you is, what do you define as a hero in the real world today?
For me, it's someone making an impact. It's someone who's really using their gifts, their talents to pursue their dreams and then make an impact with the people around them. And that can be one person or millions of lives. For me, you don't have to be a hero. If you only impact millions of people, you can really change one person's life at a time and be a big impact, whether you're a coach or a parent or a teacher or just a friend. You know, you showing up vulnerably, you showing up with power and passion and inspiring people in that way, it makes you a hero.
For sure. It kind of, what you just said kind of reminds me of this Tupac quote where it's like, he said, "I'm not going to change the world. I'm just going to change the one life that will." And I feel like that's what it's all about.
That's it, man. Impacting one life that will change the world, and you're that ripple effect.
Exactly. And, you know, your story is just so inspirational. Your story from, you know, the challenges you faced when you were younger to where you are now is just truly inspirational. So for the people that aren't familiar with your work and who you are, can you please share your story with the rest of the audience?
I mean, I was the youngest of four. I grew up in a small town in Ohio called Delaware, Ohio. And I was sexually abused when I was 5, and I didn't tell anyone for 25 years. It was a secret. I felt shameful about it, and it really held me back in a lot of ways. It was kind of like my kryptonite, I guess, if you will, where anytime I felt under attack or I felt abused or taken advantage of, I was triggered and reactive, and I wasn't my authentic, loving self. I was in a place of like, I need to destroy this human being who's trying to attack me right now. And they had power over me whenever they triggered that certain area of my life. My brother went to prison when I was 8 for 4.5 years. So during that time, I wasn't allowed to have any friends. So I felt alone. I felt unseen. I felt like people didn't care about me and people didn't love me. And I was also struggling in school. I was just the bottom of my class. I had tutors all through elementary school, middle school, high school, college. When I went to 8th grade, they said I had a 2nd grade reading level. And I just constantly could not get ahead in school. So I used all this anger and passion and put it into sports. And I just said, I'm going to become something great as an athlete. And I went on to be a 2-sport All-American. I went on to play arena football professionally, tried to make the NFL, but I got injured in my rookie season. And that's kind of when everything changed. I broke my wrist and was sleeping on my sister's couch for 1.5 years trying to figure out, who am I? My whole identity, my whole life was wrapped around being an athlete. Now I can't be an athlete. What do I do with the rest of my life? Who am I? And when you face some type of adversity or challenge where your identity is shifted and rocked, it is a scary time, because I had to look at every fear, swear to God, for the next 3 years of my life, Matthew, I looked at every fear. I wrote them all down on a list, my biggest fears. And I just said, these things have power and control over me. And I need to become like Batman and live in a cage with all these fears. And until I can stand up and see all my fears around me and be able to stand up with power, with command, and not be afraid of all the fear, not be afraid of the bats hitting my face, but actually embrace the bats and take it all on. And that's what I did for the next 3 to 5 years. I wrote down a list of my biggest fears. I did them all one by one, and it was miserable. I was afraid of public speaking, so I did it every week for a year. I was afraid of salsa dancing, so I did it every week for years. I was afraid to sing in public. All these things I was afraid of, I said, no longer will they have power over me. And I was afraid to launch a business, afraid to do an interview show, all these things. And I just kept doing my fears and made those fears a superpower. And I think that's what's helped me along my career.
Jesus, that is just such a beautiful story, man. Like, they need to make a comic or something out of you, bro. And with you being so obsessed with just overcoming your fears, I'm curious, is Batman your favorite superhero? Because Batman is all about fear. That's why he's Batman.
For me, it is. I knew you were going to ask that question. And I was like, who's a really a superhero? I mean, I like all superheroes, but I think Batman, because he's got so many vulnerabilities too. It's like he's got so many challenges from his childhood to overcoming so many things. And he wasn't a born superhero. He had to become one by overcoming his fears. And that's why I think anyone can become a great superhero if you allow yourself to be aware of the challenges, the pains, and the fears that you have, and you embrace them. And I think you don't need to have, Gumby arms or be able to like see in the future or whatever, go back in time to be a superhero. Because most people aren't born with those type of crazy gifts.
Yeah.
But we all have fears. And if you have the strength to witness those fears, to go all in on those fears until you embrace them and you fall in love with your fears, then you become more powerful than any superhero in the world because you have no vulnerabilities. And so life is a game of constantly realizing, what is my biggest vulnerability? How do I go all in and obsess over mastering that fear and vulnerability to the fact that I'm just more of a confident human being, and I'm able to move through life where things, I might fail, I might succeed, and it's not going to cripple me and be a kryptonite. And that way you look at failure as a part of just like, okay, what can I learn from this? As opposed to, I'm never going to try again. I suck. I'm a failure. I'm no good. And I think a lot of us get caught up in the fact that we go after something, we get rejected from the girl, we lose the job, our videos don't go viral, and we say, I suck, no one cares. When you don't care about the opinions of other people, that's when you become a superhero. And that's when you become more powerful than anything, because most people care so much about what other people think. So Batman would probably be my favorite. And he's not perfect. He's always got his ego's in the way. So it's like, you're always trying to conquer the next thing.
Yeah. And, growing up, like after I overcame my biggest fear, which was being the truest version of myself, because when I started making content like this, I was made fun of.
Really?
Now, yeah, 1000%.
But now you're celebrated.
Now I'm celebrated. Now it's cool.
You attract the right people who think the same way, or who like it.
Exactly. And I truly believe that, God or our creator just places fear in our lives to kind of attract us to it. Like the greatest things in life truly reside on the opposite side of fear, because it's in those moments where we pursue the things that really scare us. And once we overcome that, we become the heroes we always were, the heroes we were meant to be.
You can't be a hero without overcoming your fears.
And it's not about being scared, because we're always going to be scared. It's about being scared and doing it anyway. That's what courage is.
What was your biggest fear? Was it just people making fun of you with your hands, or was it something else? Yeah, my biggest fear growing up as a kid was the fear of rejection. Yeah. I feel like it's everyone too. It's like we all feel that. We all want someone to love us and like us, right? Yeah, and that's the kind of the beautiful thing, because it's something that's so consistent, because we're all just like loving human beings that just want to connect with each other. Yes. So that fear of rejection is just so consistent amongst everyone's fear. Like everyone is at a certain extent get scared of getting rejected. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I was so terrified as a teenager to get rejected by girls. And I remember it crippled me that I would see girls that I was like attracted to or I thought were cute, and I would never say hi to them. I missed out on so many opportunities to create connection and have fun with people. And my fear crippled me. And I remember one summer, I was 16 going into the summer after, I think it was my junior year of high school. How old are you again? I'm 18. You're 18. So I was a couple years before you. I couldn't talk to girls. I had zero confidence in talking to girls. Oh my God. And here's what I did. I said, I am sick and tired of seeing all these cute girls go by and me never even saying hi. I couldn't even say hi. I had so much fear around it, to the point where I said, okay, I'm spending this summer where I think I was sophomore going to junior year. I was like, I'm spending this summer where every time a girl gives me butterflies and makes me feel scared, I'm not going to run away from her. I'm actually going to run towards her. Not a creepy way, but I'm going to go right up to her. And I tell you what, man, I had to do this every day. I had to challenge myself every single day to do this. The first week I was stuttering all over myself. I was making a fool of myself. Girls were laughing at me. Girls were running away from me. And I realized, okay, I'm not dead. It's okay. I'm never going to see these girls again. It's just practice. I was kept learning. By the end of the summer, I had so many phone numbers and so many opportunities to hang out with girls. And I just felt more confident with myself because I wasn't afraid of getting rejected anymore. And when we can force ourselves to experience rejection over and over and over again, we no longer have the fear of being rejected when big opportunities come to us. So that's been my talent over the last 2 decades, is being aware of those big fears and then saying, okay, enough is enough. I don't want to feel this anymore. What's the challenge I can create for myself to go all in on and figure out how to overcome it? And I think if any human being can do that, they are going to be an incredible superhero.
100%. It's so funny that you said that story about, training yourself to overcome that fear of rejection, because
the same thing,
bro, the entire reason I got into creating content is because my freshman year of high school, I had this huge crush on a girl. I just didn't know how to talk to her. I read books about it. And then one day I decided to search up relationship advice. And guess who was the first person that came up? Mr. Tony Robbins.
Wow, there you go.
And then after Tony, after watching that one video, I just completely forgot about this girl. I was like, there's just so much more I need to explore in myself in order to be able to give back to someone else in an intimate relationship. So I just went down this whole path of personal development through Tony, Gary, you, and so many others. And it's just led me to this position. And truly, I feel that relationships are only a place we should go to give. But
it's true, man.
How could we go to someone to give when we haven't even explored ourselves, when we haven't made ourselves happy, when we don't know what lights our soul on fire?
So true, man. You're speaking like a true motivational coach. I like it.
So these are some of the most unprecedented times in human history. People are more scared now than ever. And they have a right to be, because there's a lot of things in today's day and age that we can't control. And it's affecting a lot of people's businesses, a lot of people's relationships, everyone's lifestyle. So Louis, my question to you is that in a world where things are constantly changing and in a world where so much is out of our control, what can we do to kind of take control of our lives in order to still feel fulfillment, in order to still make an impact in our relationships and our finances and our own personal journeys?
Yeah, I think you said it right there. I think 3 things that come to mind are taking ownership of your thoughts and your words. I think if you can take ownership of the things you think about, I think the statistic is somewhere around 70,000 to 90,000 thoughts a day that we have as human beings. And I believe 80% of our thoughts are recurring thoughts we've already had from the past. So we're having the same things. Oh, I'm stupid, or oh, this person's not going to like me, or oh, I shouldn't do this, or I'm not smart enough, or I don't look good, or my hands are big, or whatever. So we have repeating thoughts. So you can control the way you think. First off, you can control the words you say, because a Navy SEAL friend of mine that I interviewed said, your tongue is like a rudder in a ship. Imagine you're on a boat and your tongue is like a rudder. It's guiding you in a direction of your life. And when you say negative things or you use foul language, it's going to guide you down a path that attracts more of that. Same thing with your thoughts. When you think a negative thought and you hold on to it, we're all going to have negative thoughts at different times, but it's when you hold on to it, when you keep repeating it, as opposed to being aware, okay, for the last 5 minutes, I've been putting myself down in my mind. So what I need to do is I need to stop it. I'm aware of it. And I need to replace it with something that I want to become more of. What's the vision I want to create? Who do I want to become more of? I want to start thinking in those terms. And the thoughts and the words you use would be the first things. The second thing I would say would be your body and what you put into your body. So you put the mental and the words in your body, but what about the things you eat? You can have control over learning about your health, learning about nutrition, and figuring out what you put into your body, because believe it or not, sugar affects the way you think. It spikes blood sugar. It makes you crash, and then you're going to start to have negative thoughts where you're going to need more sugar. So learning how to eat properly is something you can control during this time. I'm also a big fan of your personal space. The next thing would be controlling your environment. Right when coronavirus hit, I cleaned out everything in my place. And I think a lot of people were like, okay, I can't go anywhere, but let me try to make this look better.
Yeah.
And I think you need to make your bed in the morning. For me, it's a huge I see your bed is made, at least part of it. And so for me, making your bed is key every morning, because you are in control of your sleeping and resting space. If you spend a third of your life in your bed and you make it messy, what's that say about your life? So take control and command of the things that you think, the things you say, what you put in your body, and your physical space. And then I'd say the last thing, the fifth thing, would be to take control of the way you give towards other people, your interactions and your love, your generosity and your kindness, because the key to success in life is relationships, and the key to successful relationships is vulnerability and what you bring to the table and how you show your authentic self. That's what a superhero is, someone who shares their authentic self. So the more you do that with the people around you and yourself and your physical space, the more power you'll have.
What a preach. Preach. Another thing that I really wanted to touch on, because we are living through a worldwide pandemic, and this is something I kind of experienced earlier this year, because I'm someone who loves to have control over my life, because I want to go in a certain direction and I'm not going to let anything stop me from getting in that direction. However, 2020 has been a bit of a roller coaster, to say the least. And I kind of experienced this at the beginning of the year, and I know it's something that a lot of people are experiencing now. I've had personal friends who've had family members pass away due to this virus, and a lot of people are struggling to deal with death, and it's kind of leading more to depression. Suicide rates are up, and because everyone's locked in our house, it's a lot harder to kind of deal with everything all at once. And I kind of experienced this earlier in the year when tragically we lost literally a man who inspired this world in Kobe Bryant. You had the privilege in interviewing him and learning from him, and he just inspired every life that he touched. And after he passed away, I kind of just, it like took the breath out of the world. And I just, I got in this mental space where I'm like, okay, I'm not in control of my emotions right now. This is a guy that I looked up to. He was my superhero growing up. He was one of my heroes growing up. So if I'm feeling this way, how can I change the meaning behind death? Because meaning equals feeling. If we change the meaning of something, we change what we feel. So how can we redefine death in order so we don't feel such negative emotion?
Yeah, well, I think it's okay to feel negative emotion and grieve when someone dies. I think
100%.
Sometimes people don't share their emotion enough and allow it to come out, and then they suppress the emotion and it comes out and manifests in other ways. So I definitely think there's a time and a place to grieve. And I think the best way to not let it control your life forever is to talk about it and do therapy. To be honest, I think therapy, I'm not even sure if what's your generation? Gen Z. I don't think Gen Z even knows what therapy is. Even a lot of millennials are starting to learn more about it, but I'm a millennial, but it's something that I think is going to be necessary, especially when Gen Z is only on their phone. It's, in general, when most kids are only on their phone all day, they're not talking, they're not having face-to-face conversations. It's going to manifest in their body. It's going to cause addiction. It's going to cause all other challenges that come up and arise if you don't express your emotions. And I think as a young boy growing up in Ohio, I wasn't told how to express my emotions. I was told to man up. I was told to don't cry. I was told all these different things, which caused a lot of problems in my life. And where I had to unlearn these things when I turned 30 on how to express myself in a healthy way so that I can release and let things go so they don't control me. So I think talking about death, and if you're in pain, if you're feeling hurt or sad, talking about it with a friend you trust, a parent you trust, someone who is a safe environment to talk about things, who's not going to make you shameful or bad or tell you to suck it up. That's the worst thing. So finding a therapist, finding a spiritual pastor, something like that, where you feel comfortable and be okay to talk about it. You know, if you had someone in your life you care about, it's okay to feel sadness for a while and make the most of it. And I think, you know, Tony Robbins talks about also that this is happening for me, not to me. And so if someone dies, or if you get sick, or if, you know, someone breaks up with you, or someone's not watching your content, you can say to yourself, this is happening for me, not to me. And what's the lesson I can learn here? What's the meaning I can take from this emotion? And how can I use this for my life to improve my life and the people around me to make an impact?
Yeah. And it's all about putting ourselves in that vulnerable position where we can just let it all out.
That's it, man.
And that's not popularized in today's day and age.
No.
In today's day and age, it's to suck it up.
Yeah, suck it up, look cool, be tough, all these things.
It's all about fronting and flexing when it's just when we put ourselves in that vulnerable position, it's when there's really room to grow.
Exactly.
Like you go to all of these events, all of these personal development events, everyone is so vulnerable. Everyone is so willing to share. And that's why the most growth happens at those type of events.
Exactly.
So another thing I really wanted to touch upon is the youth, because I don't think the youth is, especially with everything that's happening in the world, I don't think the youth is getting talked about enough with, you know, how they're dealing with stuff. Kids aren't going to go back to school this year.
Like, that's crazy, man.
It's crazy. And school is such an essential for fundamental development for kids. So
are you finished high school this year, or were you in college?
I just graduated high school, finished it off
so
online.
The last couple months online, and then did you have virtual graduation?
Yeah, virtual graduation.
Wow. Yeah. So all these things you had expected, you didn't get to do.
Yeah, but for me, again, I'm someone that life happens for me, not to me. Ultimately, everything that's coming our way, it's a gift. It's leading us towards a greater path. And that's something I truly believe in. Just that one belief has kind of changed, again, the way I feel about the whole situation. When we change our meaning, we change our feeling. So,
of course,
again, for kids, a lot of kids aren't just as mentally strong. So a lot of stuff's happening their way, but they don't know how to grow. A lot of kids in today's day and age, they're taught what to learn. They're not taught how to learn. So my question to you is, during times like this, how can kids, such as some kids watching this video, how can kids find different ways to learn and grow during a time where school isn't going to be hands-on, a time where they're really going to be disconnected from the institutions that are fundamental to their development?
Man, it's tough. I've got some nephews and nieces who are younger, and you know, I want them to learn. I want them to grow in certain ways. But sometimes it's hard to push it on someone unless they are seeking it. You know, you can only encourage people enough until they really want it, they need it, they're going through some breakdown, and they start looking for information. So what's the question again? How can kids be encouraged to learn during this time of the pandemic? Is that what you're asking?
No, my question is, how can students find different ways to be able to grow?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many different ways you can grow. You can watch your TikToks, you can watch YouTube tutorials, you can listen to podcasts, you can see, you know, inspirational videos online, you can go to Audible, you can read books. There's so many different places to find great content. Challenge is, most kids just don't want to read or watch or listen to that content. So what you're doing, which is great, is you're creating, valuetainment, where it's like, how do I teach you something cool about what you want to see, which maybe is superheroes or Marvel, and talk about this, but then throw in a lesson at the end. You know, here's some cool thing about a celebrity, but this is what they had to overcome, and you can too. You know, something where we can create that type of content too. You know, you throw the peas and carrots in the middle of the sugar and try to just give them some more value. I think that's what we got to do, is because the attention span for Gen Z is just, and Gen X, I guess, is so short, and they're just looking at things differently, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just where they're at right now. So how do we create content, and how do other people create content to serve them? Yeah,
100%. And just doing
comic books are a great thing. You know, it's like comics are great.
Yeah.
It's like entertain people with comics, but then there's always some lesson, you know.
The greater lesson from the story. And that's what it's all about, because through through it all, it's all entertaining, but it all teaches a greater lesson.
Exactly.
And it's truly like just my passion to be able to put that more into the spotlight, because again, during times like this, there's no superhero movies coming out right now.
That's it, man.
So someone's got to share the lessons. Someone's got to share the stories. And it's truly my passion. Like, dude, I wake up every single day with just this, like, this chip on my shoulder, this light in my soul to continue to make these videos, to continue to put a smile on many people's faces. And I know that you have that same burning passion and desire to go and make an impact in this world every single day. And I think that's what separates us from what you would call a normal person. It's just that passion. You know, what separates the greatest, most successful people on this earth is the passion that they have for their mission. And that's something that I see is that it's very absent amongst the youth. You know, the youth, it's a routine for kids.
So they're lacking passion?
Yeah, that they're lacking passion, especially here in Miami, because we are filled with like immigrant families. The routine is go to school, go to middle school, high school, college, and major in a degree that'll pay good money.
Right.
But they don't tend to be necessarily passionate about that. They just do it because, one, it's what they've been taught, and two, they're in that routine already. So I feel like, again, another blessing from this whole pandemic is that now is a great time for kids to be discovering other passions and their true mission, so like that they can go out there and just, you know, light it up.
True, man.
So my question to you is, like, during times like this, how do you think, what are different ways that kids can discover different passions the same way me and you discovered our passions?
Yeah, I think you gotta be curious minded to try different things and try things that excite you. And a lot of people talk about things they want to do, but then they never actually try it because they think about how hard it might be, or they're not old enough, or whatever. They don't have the resources. But just like start being curious and exploring it. Whatever type of talent or skill or thing you want to learn, just like you did, you were really into superheroes, you were really into Marvel, and you were like, okay, this TikTok thing is out there. I don't know. Am I going to be any good? I don't know. Are people going to watch this? I don't know, but I'm interested and I'm curious. So let me start making these weird videos. And in the first 3 to 6 months, does anyone like it? Well, maybe a couple thousand people watched it, but I'm still enjoying it. And if you're still enjoying and having fun in the curiosity of discovering something you're supposed to be doing, then keep doing it. It's when you stop loving it and stop enjoying it and you're not curious anymore, then it's not a big enough reason why to keep doing something. And the harder things get, you won't have the desire, like you said, to move through that adversity. Because at some point you're going to face a challenge and adversity, and you need to really enjoy it. So I say as a teen, as a kid, try as many different things as you want to learn some skills, have some experience, and just have fun. And when something works and you like it, keep doing it until you don't like it. And don't take it so seriously when you get started. Just like lean into curiosity. And this is what's paid off for you. I don't know how long you've been doing the TikTok stuff.
I started creating content on social media around 2 years ago. And then I started on TikTok like 6 months ago. And
look at you now, man.
Yeah, you know,
again, what are you're over 1 million subs now, or where are you at?
By the time this comes out, we would have hit a million,
wow.
But we're hitting 1 million in a day or two. So
wow, yeah, that's great, man. I'm at
beautiful.
200K. I got to learn I got to learn some new strategies. You know, it's still fun for me. And I'm putting on stuff that I like and that I would want to watch, even if it's not popping every time. And if it's not taking off, I'm like, it's fun for me to make. And if I was in a place of challenge or upset or hurt or frustration, it would connect with me.
Yeah.
And I think you got to create the thing you'd be interested in.
Yeah, and that's such a beautiful thing about TikTok, is that the app is so premature, and there's, you know, the general content is just the dancing and the lip syncing videos. But when you have people like me and you that are literally pioneering industries into the platform, when I started making superhero content, there wasn't anyone else making superhero content.
Right.
So all the superhero fans, when they came across my stuff, they just said, wow, the only superhero guy on TikTok, let me drop a follow. And they're doing the same with you. It's just, again, the app is so premature. It's just over time.
Exactly. You got to be consistent. If you want to be great at anything, you've got to be consistent over time. You know, my podcast has been around for 7.5 years, and I'm going to hit 1,000 episodes in a few weeks. And it's like, it's just showing up and improving over time. And it's what's led to other great things, launching a New York Times bestselling book and big events and all these different things. It's because I showed up every single day and tried to improve and try to listen to my audience. And I think if you're trying to launch on TikTok or anything, you've got to be consistent. You can't expect in a month to be 1 million subscribers. It's going to take consistency.
And one thing that, again, I'm going to touch on here, because there's some, kids or people just watching this video that want to start creating content, that want to do what we do, but everyone's focused on the followers, everyone's focused on the money, when in reality, me and you started this and no one was watching our stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sure now you can look back with such an appreciation for where you were when you started, because you've grown so much over the past 1,000 episodes of that podcast. Like when I started posting content, no one was watching it, but that's because I was bad at talking on video. I wasn't fluent. I had a stutter. And now I look back at those videos with such an appreciation and with such gratitude to see the growth that's happened in me over the past 2 years and throughout all of the content that I've produced.
Sure, man. And it's only going to get better for you. The more, the next 2 years, you're going to be so much farther than where you are now. You're going to grow. You're going to have experiences. You're going to have heartache. You're going to have successes, and you're going to be able to use those experiences in your content. It's when people wait to launch something, when they say, I'm not ready yet. Let me wait another 6 months or another year. If you would have waited until now, you still wouldn't be ready. And you would have started from ground zero. You started 2 years ago when you weren't ready. And that gave you the skills, the experience, and the tools to launch on TikTok with more confidence and start building from a place of experience of 1.5 years to now it's like, okay, now you can take that experience and run with it. Where other kids are just watching and they're not creating because they're afraid. And that's why you got to write a list of all your fears and then go do those fears. And
I like to say this a lot because it usually tends to motivate people to get to work. But the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is today.
Exactly.
It's right now in this moment. So if you're watching this, get started right now.
That's it.
Now, continuing on, throughout all of the work, throughout all of the mission, throughout all the work that we put in to serve our mission, I still feel that the greatest joy in life is the joy and happiness that you receive from an intimate relationship. Every Superman needs their Lois Lane. Every Peter Parker needs their Mary Jane. And you are in such a passionate, just beautiful relationship that anyone can admire. And it's inspiring to see how you and your girlfriend, Yanette, are just so unconditionally in love with each other.
Yeah.
So for someone who's struggling to engage in an intimate relationship like that, what would you say to that person like that?
I've been in so many relationships that didn't work out because of really one main thing. And it is because I didn't fully accept and love myself. And so if you are constantly judging yourself, putting yourself down, you think you're not worth it, you think you're not desirable, and you're trying to find someone to make you feel those things you're not feeling, it's ultimately going to be a very challenging relationship. There might be some sparks and some fun and some, some things that work out, but eventually you're going to have to do that inner work. And it took me 36 years until I was like, okay, I've been choosing relationships to fill a need because I wasn't fully accepting and loving myself. And I was hoping that they would fill that hole. And it never worked. It always ended very badly. And after my last relationship ended, I finally said, okay, Lewis, you've repeated this pattern probably 5 times in the last 12 years, 13 years of dating people and it not working out in a good way. So why? And the common denominator is me. I'm the one who is in these situations every time. I can't blame other people. I can't blame this. It's me. So what is it about me that keeps choosing these relationships that don't work out? And I had a heart-to-heart with myself. Looked myself in the mirror and I revealed all. And I was like, what is your issue, bro? And I realized I was choosing people that filled this need. And one of the, 3 of the things, I realized there are 3 things I was choosing all these women had in common. Number 1, I felt all the past relationships I was in I was attracted to them. They were all beautiful in their own way. That was the first thing. Number 2, I thought they all had some type of incredible gift. They were talented. They, had a skill set that was different than mine. And I was really attracted to their talent and their gift. And the third thing, which they all had in common, was they didn't believe in their gifts. And I would see them, I'm like, you're beautiful and you're talented, but they had zero confidence in their gifts. And I could see their gifts. I could see their masterpiece. And so what I reflected on was I've always gone after relationships where they need me to bring them confidence. Mm-hmm. But you can never give someone confidence. You can help improve them in certain levels, help them see things, but we all need to do the work to gain confidence. And when they didn't reach that level of confidence, and it felt more of like a job every day for years to give them like a boost and to cheerlead them all the time without them actually doing it themselves, I became resentful. And it ended up not working out, all these relationships. And I wish them all the best. They're all great women.
100%.
But I said to myself, the next relationship I get in, I'm going to try something completely different that I've never done. I'm going to find someone who's extremely beautiful, that I'm find beautiful and attractive. I'm going to find someone who's got their own talents and gifts and is independent, making their own money. And all the other girls weren't making money also. I was kind of helping them. And third, they're going to have so much confidence in themselves that I don't have to be bringing them that to the table. And within a couple months, I met Jeanette and I was like, this girl has everything, you know, and she's not perfect. You know, we've all got challenges, but I was like, wow, this is like my dream girl. She is, you know, I'm super attracted to her. She's got incredible talents and gifts. And she is so independent and confident in her abilities. She doesn't need me to lift her up all the time. Mm-hmm. And that, what makes it special is we're just helping each other. We're both on a vision and a mission to achieve our dreams, become better human beings. And we're just like, we support each other. I don't have to constantly drag her up. She doesn't have to pull me up. We're just like, let's go take over the world together. And I'm working on me. You're working on you. We're working together. And it's a beautiful thing. And listen, it's got its own challenges and we've got to work through stuff. But it's amazing. It's a game changer.
Yeah, that's so beautiful, dude. Like, I'm sure just anyone listening to that can just tell from the passion and love that you just spoke with, from your facial expressions, the body movement. It's just, this is what love is all about.
Yeah, man.
You know? And,
feels
you
good.
know, Louis, you more than anyone have interviewed so many amazing people. I mean, just to name a few: Tony Robbins, Kobe, David Goggins, Kevin Hart, the best of the best. I'm still waiting for you to get that Rock interview, that Will Smith interview. I'm praying for you, bro. but you've interviewed literally some of the most successful people of all time. So one of the things I'm really obsessed with is patterns. What are the patterns that all of these people follow, that you, Tony, Gary, just the most successful people, what do they all do that separates them from everyone else? So,
yeah, go ahead.
So with you having interviewed so many people, what are some of those patterns that you've noticed amongst all of those people?
Yeah, there's 8 key principles they've all kind of follow, right? I'll share 3 or 4 of them. One is they're very clear on their vision. They know who they want to become. They know what they want to create in the world. And they are clear on the idea of what they want to create, where they're going. People that aren't clear on where they're going don't achieve inspiring, heroic-like things. They're just reacting to things of life that are happening. They're showing up because they need to. They're not creating from a space of imagination and building their life based on that. So all these great individuals have an imagination of a dream, and then they become the alchemist to go make that dream come true. The second thing they all have is they all face adversity, and they use their adversity to their advantage. They use their big hands not to cripple them, but to make them stronger. They use their sexual abuse not to make them weak, but to make them more powerful. And whatever that might be, their insecurities, their stutter, their dyslexia, their divorce, something, they use it for their advantage, not their disadvantage, which I think is what a lot of superheroes do in general. Mm-hmm. They all practice what I call positive habits. They figure out a way to develop habits physically, mentally, emotionally to support their life, because without habits, it's really hard to be disciplined through all the challenges that come our way when you're going after something big. And I'll say the fourth thing is they all, at some point, end up living a life of service. They all switch it from I'm doing this for me to I'm doing this for to inspire the people around me. You know, we might have a dream to be a great athlete as a kid, but then we realize, you know what, man, I'm really inspiring the people who are watching me. And I want to do it to win, but also to show people what's possible. And that's when you transcend just being an all-star athlete to being a heroic individual. When you do your dream, you create your gift in service to other people. And that's what makes you a hero.
100%. And that's something I kind of picked up on, because growing up as a kid, like I always thought like, oh, you have to like go out there and actually like, you know, be a motivational speaker in order to inspire all these people. When in reality, like some of the most inspirational people of all time are the people that are just doing their own thing, you know? Yeah. LeBron, like The Rock, they're all just focusing on
showing up, man. They're just doing their own thing.
They're doing their own thing. Exactly. They're doing their own thing. And it's just inspiring to see their love, their ambition, their motivation to continue on to their mission. And sometimes those are the most inspiring people.
Absolutely.
So, Louis, with us talking, just focusing so much on superheroes, what it means to be a hero, who are our heroes? I wanted to ask you, not just who's your favorite hero, which is Batman, but in real life, who do you say is someone that is just the hero of your life, truly saved you? And what was the most important lesson they taught you?
Yeah, I've had a lot of great coaches and mentors and people that have been there at different seasons of my life to really help me. Mm-hmm. But the first thing that comes to mind is my dad. And he, you know, he was never perfect and he had his own challenges, but he really gave me a mindset to take on any challenge in my life. And I think when we can develop a mindset that is stronger than any adversity, it's one of the greatest powers we have. And in an early age, he taught me a few key things. One, we never celebrated my birthday, which I was hurt by early on because other kids were having birthday parties on their birthday, but I never got celebrated. So I remember when I was like 9 or 10, I remember asking my dad, saying, "Dad, why do we never celebrate my birthday? Do you not love me?" And he said something I'll always remember. He said, "I love you very much. I celebrate you every day. But the challenge is most people put emphasis on their age so much that they limit themselves because they say they're too young and they don't go chase their dream, or they say they're too old and their dream is past. I never want you to be limited by how young or old you are to go create your dreams." And I was like, "Yeah, but you can still give me a cake and some presents, Dad." And he, you know, that really stuck with me because I never felt like I was too young to go do anything. Like I wrote a book at 25 years old. I was like launching businesses. I was chasing things that most people would never do at that age. And I was just like, well, I'm not limited by age. And I never allowed that to affect me. So that was one thing he really taught me. He also taught me about the power of the mind over the body. And he was an extremist in what we can do with our mind to heal physical pain. And so he just got me to stop thinking about pain as a thing that would hold me back. And it gave me the tools early on to break through. Sometimes it hurt me because I was so mentally strong that I would push through so much pain that I would actually hurt myself. But more times than not, it's helped me to not back down against a physical challenge where I know I'm not going to die. And that kind of extreme mindset rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and it rubbed me the wrong way at different times. But I look back at it now and think like, I'm so grateful. Like in the moment right now, I'm on 4 days of not eating any food. I've only had about 100 calories a day from green juice in 4 days. And I've just been drinking water. And I've never done this before. And I just feel like my mind is so strong that I'm like, it doesn't matter what my body is telling me right now, how much I want to eat. My mind is clear and I'm focused because I can see the future of what I want to create. And I'm allowing my mind to dictate and not allow my body to scream at me. And so I can quiet the pain from the focus of the mind. So just different things he taught me as a kid has inspired me as an adult.
That's beautiful. And you know, you touched upon mind over body. Well, in January, you and a couple of other successful individuals
Yeah,
decided to pack your bags and literally, like how Batman did, go train in
That's
Poland.
it, man. We were in the freaking mountains, climbing with no clothes on in the snow, jumping in frozen rivers. We were training the body and the mind with Wim Hof. And I'm all about doing these challenges. You know, a year ago, I did 35 hours hiking up a mountain. It was the equivalent of climbing Mount Everest, where we went up and down 17 times up a mountain in 35 hours on very little sleep. I'm all about seeing what you can accomplish physically and mentally, because it gives you confidence. It tells you, okay, I am capable of, if I can do this, I can do anything.
Yeah.
And I made a commitment to myself next year to run a marathon. And I've never run more than 3 or 4 miles in my life at a time. I'm a sprinter. But I was like, I don't want to run a marathon. People have been asking me to do a marathon for 10 years. I've said no because I don't want to do it, because it's not fun for me. And because I'm afraid of it, and because it's not fun for me, I'm like, I need to do it. You know, it's going to always nag me if I don't do it. And I don't want to do it. But this last week, I ran, what did I run? I ran 7 miles on last week. And that was the farthest I've ever gone. And so it's like, okay, I'm just pushing myself a little farther every week to see what I can create. And it's putting me in a different mind frame. Okay, I've never run more than 4 miles, and now I'm running 7. Maybe this next week I can do 8. And it's just like, okay, I'm 6 months away. We'll see what I can do.
Yep. And again, just with everything you're saying, you're like the real life Batman. Like there's this quote from Batman Begins where it says, in order to overcome fear, you must become fear.
Ooh, I've never heard that one. That's good.
And that's
in order to overcome fear, you must become fear.
Yes.
That's in Batman Begins?
Yes.
I love The Dark Knight. I need to go watch all these Batman movies again, because I'm a big fan of those movies.
Yes, and they have like the greatest one-liners. Like that Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy has like the greatest, they have the greatest lessons. Those movies specifically, like they really emphasize
the greatest music.
Oh my God, yes. Just so motivational.
What's your favorite Marvel movies?
My favorite Marvel movie was Avengers Endgame. As you can see.
I mean, that's pretty epic.
We got it right there.
That's great.
Yeah. I saw it 18 times in theaters. And
in theaters?
In theaters.
It never got old for you, huh?
Because ultimately, Avengers Endgame was an experience. Like,
it was.
Like, if you went to go see it in theaters, you know that movie wasn't a movie. It was a concert. Like, there wasn't one theater that I went to out of the 18 times where the theater wasn't rocking with excitement during that final hour. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Wow. And what's your favorite movie beyond that? Any superhero movie?
Spider-Man 2, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. Those are fantastic. Those changed my life.
Yeah, those are great too.
Man of Steel with Henry Cavill. Just, I have such a love for all of them because I find the beauty in all of them and the lessons that they teach us.
Yeah.
But man, Avengers Endgame was just that movie that I've never had a movie make me feel the way that movie made me feel.
That's powerful, man.
How about you? Was The Dark Knight like that movie for you?
Dark Knight, yeah, Dark Knight Rises. I don't know if something about was it The Dark Knight Rises where he's in the prison in the hole?
Yes, and then he comes out, right?
He jumps, and he's like, the only way you can get out is if you do it without a rope. And I'm like, dang, it's life or death. And you have to believe so much that I'm going to make this. And the thing of why I love that is because his vision was so much more powerful than his pain.
Yeah.
And he was like, he had a vision stronger than all the broken bones and being trapped, and no one's ever jumped out except for one person, all this stuff. So it's like when you can imagine and have a dream and a vision bigger than your circumstance, then you can train your mind, your body, your skills to become who you need to become in order to make that dream come true.
Yeah.
That's why I love how he was able to rise up.
And another lesson that scene specifically really emphasizes, I feel, is that you have to go all in.
You have to commit all in. You can't go halfy and like, we have a safety net. No.
Yeah. It was only when he took off the rope that he actually made it.
He went all in.
Exactly. And when it comes to anything in life, with anything we want to pursue, we have to go all in. We can't play with 1 foot over there and 1 foot over here. We have to go in one direction and give it everything we got, like if it's life or death, exactly how it was in that scene.
That's it, man. It was It's a great scene. That's Dark Knight Rises, right?
Yeah.
Man, I should watch that tonight. What was the who said? Did Batman say that, or was that Alfred who said that quote?
The quote about fear, that was actually Ra's al Ghul, which was his mentor.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
He said, in order to overcome fear, we must become fear.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And it's a quote that completely embodies Batman. That's why he's Batman, because he's scared of bats. He's scared of it all. And he embodies it, you know?
Wow.
So
that's great.
Now, as we continue to talk about superheroes, Lewis, as we make our way to concluding all of this and bringing it home, what is one thing that the viewers watching today can do after this video, after this podcast, in order to become their own hero today?
Most of this audience is how old?
I mean, we got people ranging from the older, mainly 18 to 24.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I don't want to get too deep for everyone here, but I feel like in order to become a superhero, you have to heal your past. And most of us aren't willing to look at the things in the past that have hurt us, whether that was 6 months ago, the breakup you went through, whether that was something where your parents got divorced when you were younger, whether you went through something more traumatic, someone close to you died. Most of us don't look at our past and heal the trauma of our past. And we carry that trauma with us today and in the future. And that baggage holds us back. If you want to become a superhero, you need to be free. And if you're holding on to something in the past, you are not free. You're a prisoner of your past. So the best thing you can do is really start to heal those things. And how do you heal those things? You have honest conversations with yourself, with loved ones, people you care about, someone that's a safe person you can talk to, where you can trust. They're not going to make you feel wrong. And you have to communicate and express these things. You have to write letters to yourself that no one sees. You got to talk to a friend, a family member, and allow yourself to let those things go. And when you can truly let those things go, then you become more powerful, more heroic, and a superhero in the present. But you got to let go of the past.
What a beautiful statement, Lewis. Do you have any final remarks before we end today's episode of Superhero Sit Down?
That's it, man. Final remarks is you were born with an incredible gift inside of you. And you may think that you don't have those gifts, and those gifts aren't for you, that it's only other people who are supposed to be successful and achieve their dreams. But I'm telling you, you've got something special and unique inside of you that only you possess. And it's your duty, it's your responsibility every day to figure out, what are those tools? What are those gifts? What are those dreams inside of me? And to master your fears so that you can pursue your dreams using those gifts and make an impact on the people around you. And that's what this life is all about.
1000%. I couldn't agree anymore. Thank you so much, Lewis, for joining this podcast.
My man.
Just any single life that touches this video, this form of content, because I'm going to clip it up and spread it everywhere like it's a virus. Those lives will be changed.
A virus of love, man.
Yep. A virus of love. Damn right. Thank you so much for joining us, Lewis.
Appreciate you, Matthew.
So thank you guys tuning in into Superhero Sit Down episode 20. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to check out Lewis's content. All of those links will be in the description of this video. Thank you guys for tuning in. I love you guys 3000, and I'll see you guys next time.